Hey guys, so it's this weird perspective again, which means that this is a spontaneous video that wasn't planned, and the one camera that was available has been stuck on the passenger seat, and this is what you're getting. So, New Year's Eve in Japan, December 31st, 2024, 4:30 p.m. This is what's happening in Japan. So, traditionally, New Year's Eve is usually spent with family, so extended family. So usually people travel home to the parents' house or the grandparents' house, and if it's sort of far, they usually stay there a couple of days, or if it's somewhere local, they just sort of visit for the day on January 1st. So it's usually an all-day thing, sort of like 11 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night sort of thing, eating food, big spread of food, tasty food all over the place, all day usually. It's pretty classic. It's sort of similar to what a lot of people would experience as a Western Christmas. So family get together, they're together all day, they eat lots of food. The old guys tend to drink a few beers and then fall asleep in their chairs. The kids all go crazy and run around screaming and having a good time. So it's very similar. It's the nearest you can find in Japan to a real Christmas is Japanese New Year. So it's good. It's a good event. It usually means that New Year's Eve is usually not a big party thing. I mean, there are exceptions, of course. If young people in a big city might have a different experience of it, but usually New Year's Eve is fairly quiet. Often people will go to the local temple or shrine and say a prayer, wish for a good new year. Quite often at the shrines they have particularly good sake. In our town there's actually a really old shrine that has really good sake, so it does vary from shrine to shrine, and they buy big sort of kegs, like a wooden keg of sake, and serve it out in little square wooden cups, and it's pretty good. It is pretty good because this is sort of getting to be the coldest time of year. So if you're standing there at midnight, which is usually when people go to the shrine, go there to do their prayer at midnight. Usually it's pretty cold. So if you have a couple of cups of sake, it usually helps warm you up a little bit. So that's what actually just happened to be driving past the shrine. Might just pull in and have a look, see what they got ready. So it's early, it's 4:30, nothing happens till later. This wasn't planned, none of this was planned. Just noticed this big banner up here. And there is a shrine, yeah, they're all ready to go, they've got it all happening. Let's just drive in and see if we can have a look. Right on the coast here, guys. The beach is just the other side of that wall. In fact, if there's a tsunami, it'll come right over that wall. So just have a look, this is classic. See, they've got a big fire in the middle ready to go, big fireplace in the middle ready to go, and they've got the Red Cross tent set up with the sake bottles. Can you actually see the sake bottles? Sake bottles there ready to go. So the staff are here. They're going to have a really long night because it's only 4:30, and most of the people won't show up till after 10 o'clock. So there you go. That's exactly what it looks like. They'll light that big fire in the middle, that big pile of railway sleepers you can see there with all the stuff in the middle of it. They'll light that up and have a big bonfire. And those guys don't have a keg of sake. They've got big bottles of sake that I'll start handing out. Probably drinking it already. But maybe some of the older people might come from now and do they go and stand at the shrine, clap their hands and say a prayer and then go home again. Quite often the old people just do that because that's the traditional thing. They don't usually hang around much. So yeah, maybe from now people will start showing up, but the majority won't come till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. The smart ones come about 11:30 and have a couple of sakes, and then they're there for 12 o'clock to do the thing, and then they go home again. So that's fairly typical. The big partying thing, New Year's Eve countdown thing, I have been to them years ago, before the family and the kids and stuff. I did go to a couple of countdowns where, a big night of drinking, and they're funny though. The big parties here tend to be fairly well behaved. Like, they do drink a lot, but they'll have things like bingo and things like that. Like, this came to mind, a New Year's Eve I had in the past with a bunch of young people, people in their early 20s, and they're all drinking, And actually I was the bar owner, what would you call it? He got me to, because I'd done some tequila with the salt and the lemon, and he was impressed, and he said, show those guys. There was a table there of young people, and show those guys, and so I did it with them, and then another table wanted to do it too, and I ended up spending the night going from table to table doing tequila shots with all these people, all these young folks. But even then, you know, we're drinking fairly heavily, but even then they're playing bingo and doing wholesome things like that, and they play bingo and they have prizes for the people who get bingo, and pretty sort of wholesome events. You know, they're pretty well behaved usually. But so yeah, you do have parties like that, but yeah, the majority of the people we know, both young and old, you know, the young people will tell you, you'll say, what are you doing? You know, university students and so on. Oh, going back to the Jika, it's called, the family home, and it'll either be their parents' house or their parents' house, their grandparents' house, and quite often, because people move around because of work and things, and quite often the family home will be in another prefecture, sometimes quite far away. In fact, the airports this time of year are extremely busy because people are travelling home quite often by aeroplane back to their family homes, you know. So it's a fairly busy time of year for travelling. Really bad time of year to be on a highway because a lot of people travel home by car. So this time of year, the highways are mad. We usually do our best to stay as close to home as possible, because it's insane. Travelling this time of year, travelling around New Year, or going to restaurants, or doing pretty well anything this time of year is insane. So it's too much. So that's pretty much it. And then yeah, so tonight will be fairly subdued usually, and then tomorrow will be the family day all day with the extended family. And it's actually a really nice day. It is a similar feeling to a Western Christmas, what some of us experience as a Western Christmas, you know. So the aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents, and you know, lots of food. They start preparing that today. New Year's Eve they start preparing today, and then they'll be cooking early tomorrow morning and laying it out on the table. That's a bit of an odd thing. They'll actually lay it all out on the table, 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we turn up at 11 o'clock, 11:30, and all of it, even the hot stuff, has been left on the table from 10 o'clock in the morning, and that's all sort of normal here. You know, we've talked about this before, that even hot foods are often served at room temperature here, which at first can be odd. Things like baked egg or meats, you know, that you eat at room temperature. It feels a bit odd at first, but you sort of get used to it. You know, I heard someone complaining recently that they'd gone on a cruise. It wasn't a Japanese person, it was a Western person. They'd gone on a cruise and they're complaining that their scrambled eggs were cold. It was like, yeah, you come to Japan, you know, because cold eggs, room temperature meat, you know, room temperature everything is really common here. So the food comes out generally, you know, throughout the day. So if you're lucky, you grab something when it first comes out. Things like fried potato, there's the thing. The fried potato will come out at room temperature, or it'll be served at room temperature. You've got to sort of grab stuff like that when it first comes out while it's still sort of reasonably warm. But quite often that sort of stuff's at room temperature as well. Which again, if you're not used to it, you know, fried potato at room temperature, it's not for everybody. But it's good. It is a good time of year. If you come here as a tourist, a few things to look out for. Everywhere's busy. The trains are busy. The aeroplanes are busy. The airports are busy. Everything's busy. The roads are really busy. Everything's closed. So New Year's Day itself's a public holiday. The other days aren't public holidays. However, everything closes. So I actually forgot this morning. I went to the ATM this morning to get some cash, and I forgot that this small bank branch, its ATMs are closed. So it's Tuesday, it's not a public holiday, but because it's the holiday time, the ATMs seem to close at random times. And if you want cash, so just a tip: if you're going to be here New Year's Eve, make sure you got a load of cash on hand, because you might not be able to access an ATM. We've talked about that before. ATMs and getting money, getting cash here can be a real pain. So as much cash as you can have on hand as possible, the better. But yeah, it's a good time of year. It's a good time of year to be in Japan. It's cold, cold and windy, and the wind is really cold. So that's pretty standard every year we get that. So that's about it. That's New Year. So tomorrow I'll be eating way too much food. I remember last year we started eating at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then we got to 5 o'clock and we felt like we're still eating. And then someone said, what are we going to have for dinner? Or what about dinner or something like that? I was like, wait a minute, it's 5 o'clock and we're still eating lunch. You know? Wait a minute. So it's like that. So some of you, that will sound familiar from the way some of you experience, or some of us used to experience Christmas. Similar sort of thing. So it's a good experience. So just stocking up on various things at the moment, because tomorrow's going to be a big day. So anyway, that was a random, unexpected story. If you're interested, that shrine that I showed you briefly, if you search New Year on our channel page, go to our channel page, and in the search box just search New Year, and you'll get a lot of them. The first few years we're making YouTube videos, we gave you videos, well actually few over the years, of the experience at shrines with the fires. They quite often have a fire, which is really nice. Stand around a big fire, big bonfire like they had ready to go down there. Stand around a big bonfire with a cup of sake is very pleasant when it's -2 degrees or whatever it's going to be tonight. So yeah, if you're interested in having a look at those videos, just search New Year on the channel page and you'll get a whole variety of them that we've made over the years. Some at shrines, some at temples. I can't remember where else. There might be some others that were taken other places as well. In the old days, before the family came along, I used to go to a few big parties and things. But yeah, different. I mean, the parties that I went to in Australia in my early days were really riotous, but you don't sort of get much of that here so much. You know, even when people are drinking heavily and really going hard, they're still sort of well behaved. You know, they don't really get out of hand. So, but anyway, yeah, have a look on the channel page, search New Year, see what you get. And Happy New Year to everybody. More videos coming soon.